This is KGW News at Sunrise.
For the fact that we have these exemptions in Oregon, this shouldn't even be on the table. It should be choice.
We need to be protected, we need to be safe, and a vaccine mandate would help us.
Tensions reached the boiling point at this Portland school board meeting. Things got so heated, the in-person discussion about vaccine mandates was forced to go virtual.
Plus, local school districts still struggling with hiring, so Beaverton is offering some big incentives to get more teachers in the classroom.
That's a penalty. That's a penalty this morning on Brenda Braxton, number 42. Way too much excitement and enthusiasm for 5 o'clock in the morning. 10-yard penalty and the loss of a news read. So Brenda Braxton, whatever our top story of the day is, you don't get to read it this morning. We're going to give that to Rod Hill.
Tough.
We are live this morning at Goodwill. Very simple concept here this morning. We are doing last-minute Halloween costume shopping. Some great ideas coming your way. And of course, you won't spend a lot of money here at Goodwill to find that great Halloween costume. We'll have more in about 15 minutes, gang.
Cannot wait to see. One of my favorite things all year long is seeing what Drew is going to dress up as. We'll check in later. Hey, good morning, everybody. Middle of the week. Happy Wednesday. Rodney, good to have you back.
Middle of the week, thank goodness. Only a couple days left to go on this weekend.
Woo, hard work.
My first day back. Here's a look at radar this morning. We are still in this mild and often wet weather pattern. A little bit of rain out over the Blue Mountains. You can see the west side has a fair share of rain right now. Some heavier pockets up in northern Clark County where you see the bright colors right there. It's all light stuff generally between Portland and Salem right now. It's actually dry currently out at the airport. 54 degrees is the temperature there. So to the bus stop we go. We think generally there's just a little bit of rain around this morning and the same thing at lunchtime. Temps in the 50s. When the kids get out of school around 3 o'clock, that's about the time we think our next shot of steady widespread rain starts to pick up. It'll be 58 degrees at that time.
All right, Rod, thank you so much. Well, last night's Portland School Board meeting was so heated it had to be shut down and moved online. They're weighing whether or not to require students 12 and up to get the COVID vaccine.
But when a group of unmasked people against the vaccine showed up, it threw everything into turmoil. Alma McCarty reports.
Even before Portland Public Schools' Board of Education meeting began, tension was high. Some tried to refuse masks at the door, others brought signs. There was at least one heated discussion turned disagreement over the possible student vaccine mandate inside the meeting room. We spoke with parent Sonia Fentish early in the evening.
I personally don't care if people get vaccinated or not. I think if you want to get vaccinated, that's great. If you want to vaccinate your kids, great, do it. I support that. But that's the whole point, is that it's choice. And also the fact that we have these exemptions in Oregon, this shouldn't even be on the table. It should be choice.
Her comments and the comments of several others did not make it in front of the board, at least not in person.
It's ended before it began.
We had visitors in attendance who were not complying with the state mandate of masks, and therefore the Board of Education chairwoman, Michelle DePaz, asked folks to put on their mask, and folks refused.
All right, we're going to suspend the meeting, and we'll move to a virtual location. We can't put everyone at risk. Thank you.
You are cowards! I will not sit down. I won't comply. You guys are cowards.
It's upsetting because the parents are here. The parents were the ones who ended the meeting tonight, and the students are just here to talk. We want to have a discussion.
Xander Levine is a senior at Lincoln High School.
Students are the ones sitting in class all day. We need to be protected. We need to be safe, and a vaccine mandate would help us.
Tuesday morning, at least 200 students who feel the same way in support of a mandate staged a walkout at Grant High School. The discussion among the board restarted later Tuesday night.
Good evening. I want to welcome the board, superintendent, staff, families, students, and guests.
After hearing from a few people through virtual public comment, leaders considered the feedback from the listening sessions held last week. Those on all sides of this recommendation hope the rocky start to the evening didn't hinder the ongoing conversation surrounding a vaccine mandate for students.
I think the important thing is to hear the commentary of the public.
So the majority of the board expressed support for a mandate, but there's been no vote yet. There's still a lot of questions about how it would be implemented and what type of exemptions would be allowed. So the board decided to move back a vote until November 16th.
Well, at the same time, a huge milestone on the road to getting younger kids vaccinated. An FDA advisory panel approved the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. Shots could start as early as next month. Pfizer's own data shows its child-sized doses are more than 90% effective at preventing symptomatic infection. However, a recent poll shows only 30% of parents plan to get their kids vaccinated right away. That news worries a lot of doctors who say vaccinating younger kids is key to getting COVID under control.
Not only can they get sick, but they can also spread it to others, and that's the big concern.
Although pediatric COVID deaths are rare, more than 700 children have died from the virus since the pandemic began. The CDC will weigh in next week before a final decision.
Meanwhile, Oregon Governor Kate Brown got her COVID booster shot yesterday. The governor first got a J&J vaccine, in part to show everyone it was safe and it worked. But since then, studies revealed that while it worked very well, it was the least effective of the three. So yesterday, the governor got a Moderna booster.
I was really grateful to be one of the Americans, millions of Americans, who did the Johnson & Johnson one and done. And in talking with my medical provider, my doctor, wanted to try this alternative strategy.
Lots of people are now eligible for booster shots, but it's different for each vaccine. Details are available at KGW.com. And local doctors add appointments are booking up fast, so they recommend scheduling a shot with your doctor's office or pharmacy ahead of time. Well, later this morning, the Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association will give us an update on the restaurants all throughout the state and how they're doing during the pandemic. The situation is still dire for thousands of establishments. A lot of restaurants worry about even making it through the winter. KGW's Bryant Clerkley is here with more on efforts to get them some financial help. Good morning, Bryant.
Good morning, Brenda. And CEO Jason Brandt says there's over 2,000 restaurants in the state that have not received any of the money from the Revitalization Fund. He says the federal government ran out of money, and he's worried there will be more permanent closures. Today's press conference will be at Mama Bird in Portland. Chef owner and Top Chef Portland contestant Gabriel Pascuzzi will share his story of trying to survive without any revitalization money. Brandt says it's important to give these restaurants a fighting chance while they take on the challenging winter season. Right now, outdoor dining counts for 20% of restaurant sales, but as the weather gets colder and rainier, those sales will dwindle. He says a lot of restaurants are still in debt and food prices are rising.
The Restaurant Revitalization Fund is a proven program, and similar to the Paycheck Protection Program, we should look at doubling down on a successful program. And there are so many local restaurants and workers that would benefit from any act by the federal government to replenish the fund.
The good news, Brandt says over 2,300 restaurants did receive money from that revitalization fund. He says restaurants that have not received funding yet will not have to apply again, and the amount of money they will get depends on the size of the establishment. Back to you guys.
Bryant, thank you. Well, school districts across the country are having trouble finding substitute teachers, and in turn, one local district is offering some big incentives. The Beaverton School District is offering bonuses ranging from $500 to $3,300 depending on how many days a substitute teacher works. The district also raised the daily pay rate from $195 to $230. Retired teachers who are currently substituting in the district say they hope the incentive attracts more substitutes.
I think they need to do something like that to incentivize it in a profound way. And so I'm hopeful that people who have retired from teaching like us and others would be interested in doing that.
The district spokesperson says there are two big factors when it comes to the substitute shortage. A lot of hiring over the summer, which depleted the substitute pool, and hesitancy among retired teachers to come back during the pandemic. Okay, this next story kind of sounds grinchy, but gotta tell you, Christmas trees could be in short supply this year. Farmers say this summer's drought and Oregon's historic heat wave impacted a lot of crops, including Christmas trees. One farmer says up to 80% of his seedlings just didn't make it. That number is usually closer to 10%.
It fried those trees literally in the matter of a day or two.
Despite all of that, farmers tell us Christmas tree prices should only increase about 5% this year.
Oh my gosh, we're talking about Christmas trees already. All right, Rod Hill back with us this morning, and it's raining again out there in parts.
Well, yes. And it's also very, very mild out there again. This has been quite a run of these nights staying in the 50s and daytime highs anywhere from about 56 to 60. And that's right where we will be again today. So here's what's going on. I do want to point out there's what I like to call a moisture break right here. You can see the cloud fetch kind of break up. So inland showers currently have a good chance to kind of decrease in number. And I think once we get into the afternoon hours, we'll get into some fairly quiet weather conditions. Mostly light rain over Portland right now. Here's Futurecast, 9 o'clock this morning. Well, a few showers around, but not much. Here's the next wave of more steady, widespread rain. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have plans early this evening, count on it being pretty steady rain-wise out there. That breaks up by tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow's like today. Some morning scattered showers around, but the rain that comes in later tomorrow into the evening will be much heavier. So maybe we get a quarter of an inch of rain for the 24-hour period today. Tomorrow could be more like 3/4 of an inch of expected rain. Here are those mild temperatures to start your day. 50 in Kelso, 54 Portland, 54 down in Salem, and 40s out across eastern Oregon. 7-day forecast numbers still show a dry weekend. How about that? So the rain tomorrow night goes into early Friday morning, maybe. But by noon Friday, we should be dry. And then we'll stay dry all the way through the weekend. I've added a chance of rain on Monday with the weak system that may or may not hold together. And that's your forecast for now.
Not bad. All right, Rod, thank you. Still ahead, now that the CDC has recommended the mix and match booster shot strategy, many are wondering which should they get. Our Verified team is looking into it right after the break. And Drew is going to join us in a few minutes. He is live at Goodwill this morning on the hunt for the best Halloween costume. Oh boy. Drew's got the details on their Halloween costume contest coming up.